Okay, our last task for this particular section is to also add the functionality to delete on the client. So what we'll do is we'll just head over to the message service, and what we'll do is we'll just add another method inside here that's going to take care of the deleting of the messages. So we'll say delete message, and this is going to take an ID of a number for the message ID. And then what we'll do, we'll say return this.http.delete, and then we'll say this.base URL plus, and then we'll say messages, and then / plus the ID. And then we can swing over to our messages components, so message component.ts, and we'll add another method inside here, and we'll say delete message. And this is going to take the ID of the message, and what we're going to do in here is say this.messageService.delete message, and we're going to take in the ID, and then we're going to subscribe, and we don't get anything back from a delete, so we'll just add empty parentheses, and we'll say list.messages, and we'll use the splice method here, and we'll say list.messages, and we'll find the index of the message, and we'll pass the message ID. So we'll add the expression and say m goes to m.id equal to the ID, and then we'll add a comma and specify how many messages we want to delete, and in this case it's just the one. There's one more thing we need to do, and that's to go to our message component templates. So we need to go to the message component HTML, and we need to add the click event here for the delete button. So we'll say click, and we'll set this equal to delete message, and we'll pass in the message ID. And what we also need to take care of in here, because if we take a look at what we're doing at the top, then for our table row, we've got a router link. So when we click on the row, even if we're clicking on the button, then it's going to attempt to route us to the member detail component. We don't want that. We want them to, when they click on the button, just delete the message. Don't route us at the same time. So what we need to do, and we'll need to add, and this looks a bit weird, I admit, but we're going to add a second click event to this button. And we're going to set this equal to, and then we say $event, and we'll say stop propagation, and add the parentheses there. And this just ensures that we don't also route at the same time as deleting the messages here. So let's go and test this functionality, and I'm just going to refresh the page just to make sure nothing's weird is going to happen. And if I go to my outbox, let's just take a look at this. So I've sent Lisa some messages from Todd, and if I click the one that I just sent, the hello Lisa, and delete, then we get an issue. And one thing that we didn't do was test in Postman, so this has come as a bit of a surprise. But let's take a look at the error in this case, and it's telling us that the message controller at line 87 is where the problem is. And let's go and take a look at the message controller on line 87. And we'll go to the message controller. And on line 87, what are we doing here? Well, we're getting our message sender.username, and we're getting our message recipient.username. And what are we doing here? We're going to get our message, and our message needs to contain the sender and the recipient. But did we include them? Did we eagerly load our sender and recipient into that get message method? Based on the fact that we've got the error here, my hunch tells me that we didn't do that. So let's go to the message repository. And if we take a look at our get message method, then for sure, all we're doing is going to get the message. Now, if we want to get access to the related entities, then we either need to project or we need to eagerly load the related entities. And we're not going to project inside here. So what we'll do is we'll need to change the type of this method, because we can't use include with a find async. So what we'll need to use is single or default. And then we can say that the expression here, we'll say x goes to x dot id is equal to the id, And then inside here we can include, and we could say u goes to u.sender, and we can also include and say u goes to u.recipients. And this should resolve our issue. So if we head back to the browser and we go to our messages, and let's go to the outbox, and once again I'm going to try and delete hello Lisa and click on delete. This time we get success. And what we should find that in Lisa's inbox, then we still see the message because we only delete it from one side. And if I just log out of Todd and log in as Lisa, and go to the messages, then I still see the message in my unread messages and also in the inbox as well. So we've now got our messaging system in place. Now if you open up another browser and you log in as a different user and you send the message between the users, then it's going to lead to disappointment at the moment because you're not going to see the message popping up on the other user's browser. And that's fine. That's what we'd expect. We don't maintain a connection to the API, and we don't have any way of doing that just now. But that is coming later. So what we'll do, we're going to say job done for messages. We'll just give a quick check of the console just to make sure there's nothing nasty going on here. And that's from earlier. So I'm just going to refresh and click in the inbox, click in the outbox. I'm going to click on Todd's. And we still see all the messages inside here as well, and say hello Todd and press return, and we're all good. No errors in the console. So we're going to say that we're happy, and happy means committing our changes to GitHub, and a huge amount of changes in this section. And what we'll do is we'll stage all of these changes. Obviously, double check that you're happy with what's going on inside here. You're not sending anything up to GitHub you shouldn't be, etc. And I'm going to say end of section 15 in this case. And then we're going to go and commit, and we're going to go and push our changes to the GitHub repository. And what we'll do next is we'll wrap this up with a summary.